Bonjour, hi. So I am back. It has been quite a while, about a year since I made my last booktube video, but I decided to come back. I recently did a buddy read with a friend and I really enjoyed it, and it made me kind of want to get back into this. I more or less stopped because I am a musician and it kind of work took off. I got crazy busy, and so I kind of just stopped making videos because I didn't have time. And also, my first few videos were about the Stormlight archive, and I got a bit like overwhelmed just because of how big and chunky I felt like I wasn't doing the books justice. So just all of that combined, I kind of just stopped. So I am back. I'm gonna give this another shot. So I thought for today I would start with just something simple. It's February, but I haven't been doing videos, so I thought I would go over the 10 physical books that I read last year. I ended up reading, I kept track here, I read 94 books total last year, but 73 of them were audiobooks and 11 were ebooks. So only 10 of the books that I read were physical books. So I figured I'd start there with a video. I'm going to go through them all. So I have the order that I went through them. 6 of them were books that I own and 4 were library books. So the first one that I read, uh, 3 of the books that I read in January, I started off with Stephen King's The Dark Tower series. Like, bizarre for me, I feel, to start with horror in the new year, but that's how I started. They were all library books. The first 4 that I read were library books. I'll figure out how to put them on screen. So yeah, the first one was The Gunslinger, and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 star on Goodreads. I enjoyed it. I just remember it felt a little lacking, like sparse, like I wanted more, and it kind of felt like a bit aimless, like I didn't really know where it was going, but I was intrigued enough that like I want to know where it's going. So then my second book was The Drawing of the Three, and I gave that one 5 stars. If you haven't read them, especially The Drawing of the Three gave me the movie Being John Malkovich. Like, it gave me that kind of vibes of a movie. Like, there's a similar like plot line kind of. If you've seen that movie, like, you'll understand. And I really like the movie Being John Malkovich, so like definitely it was a good book for me. So then after that, I ended up doing, it was a buddy read with a book challenge that I'm part of, the 52 book challenge group. It was the book The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't my favorite. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was from the point of view, like, you got to look into the musician's world, which I thought was nice. Like, I figured for a non-musician, it's a good look into what we actually go through as musicians. But there was like a bit of a mystery to it, and I just like the mystery part I didn't care for. To me, it was very obvious. I just found some of it like a bit hit or miss for me. He centers around a lot of the racism and prejudice that goes in the music world, but if I remember correctly, there was a section where he uses a slur against the Romani people, and I'm like, you're being a little, I don't know, like the irony, I guess, of that. And yeah, just like the mystery part wasn't. Oh yeah, like there was a couple of like plot holes almost, I guess, because the whole beginning of the book hinges on the fact that he mistakes picking up his violin case, and I mean, I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it happens like near I think it's in the first like 10 pages of the book, so like not really a spoiler. He picks up his violin case and it has been switched out for a shoe in the case, but like in the real world, like that wouldn't happen. Like, if you picked it up, you would know the difference between there being a shoe versus a violin. Like, one, the shoe would be heavier and like it would obviously move around. So I was just like, not believable enough for me. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. But yeah, didn't hate it, didn't love it. That's usually when I give a 3, if it's like okay for me. And then next was The Wastelands, so the third one in the Stephen King. Same thing, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I liked it. I'm very intrigued in where it's going. His writing isn't my favorite. That's mostly, I think, why I'm giving it a 4 instead of a 5. Like, just the over swearing, the use of the N-word constantly. Like, yes, there's a black character. It's set in the 60s, I think. I think there's like, yeah, like there's time travel and stuff, but like that character is from the 60s, and so like he goes, it's like this is being written by a white man. He's kind of going overboard on the use of the N-word. Like, it's just, that's why it's not getting a 5-star for me. And these are also from like a year ago at this point, so I'm a bit hazy on the details. As I was doing this, I'm realizing that my recall is not as great as I thought. I was gonna do a book on all my 5-star reads of last year, but some of the books that I rated 5 stars, I'm like, what even was the plot of this book? Like, why did I give this 5 stars? So I'm kind of rethinking how I rate books. I don't know. But at the same time, I was like, most of these books that I've given 5 stars were from series. So like they kind of all mesh together for me. You know, after a year, it's like, okay, but which one was like, where does it separate the plot line when it's like a 7 series book type thing? Like the main one I gave, I also kind of, I got off the rails on doing videos and stuff too, because I ended up listening to all of the Animorph books as audiobooks. Like that was the majority of what I read last year. I think there was 62 of the 94 books. I think that's what the numbers were. Were Animorphs. So I'm like, who wants to watch videos on just me reading Animorphs? Like, how do I make content out of this? Like, how interesting is that going to be? But some of the ones I rated 5 stars, I'm like, what even happened in this book? Like, I don't remember. And they're all the something, like the solution, the answer, the revelation. And it's like, okay, but what actually happened in that book? Like, I don't remember. So that's why I'm doing my 10 physical books instead. But anyways, so next I read, I finished Words of Radiance, which I own. Oh, that's the first one that I actually own. So yes, I finally finished the second in the Stormlight Archive series. Just 5 out of 5, wonderful. I love Brandon Sanderson's writing. I will kind of get into the one like me I have about Sanderson, but like overall the great, wonderful world building. I'm mostly invested in Shallan. I'm currently into Oathbringer, but I kind of set it down a month or so ago. I'm also noticing more and more that I'm a bit of, I guess, what would be a mood reader. Like I just haven't felt like reading this. Like it's so heavy, there's so much in it. I've been wanting like lighter, easier reads, I guess, lately. So yeah, my plan is I am currently reading Babel by R.F. Kuang. So I think once I finish this, my plan is to get to this. So we'll see if that actually happens or not, because I say these things and then I go a completely different direction. But yeah, so Words of Radiance, 5 out of 5. Loving the series so far. I don't have the 5th one yet because I figured I need to finish what I have first before I go out and buy. That's also one of my resolutions. I want to not buy any books this year. I think the majority of the books that I own I haven't read because of how slow of a reader I have been in the past, but I'm doing a lot better on that. I am already 25% of the way through Babel, and I think I only started a couple days ago. So for me, like, that's crazy fast. And then the next one that I finished was Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. That one was also a library read. I remember not really liking it, but I gave it a 2 out of 5, but now that I'm like thinking back on it, it wasn't like that bad. Like her writing is really good in that. I think the main downside I have with her is just that like she really like hammers her point. You know, it's like, okay, I'm not that stupid. You don't need to really like shove it down my throat. Like I understand like what you're going for. And that's how I felt about Yellowface. I'm enjoying Babel a lot more right now. But same thing. It's like, okay, I get it. I understand the racism in that, but it's just like because of how much she's like hammering it into you, it kind of like I find it's not as effective, you know, if it wasn't just like every single page just being, you know, white people bad. So yeah, so for Yellowface, it was also like the characters were so unlikable that I found it really hard to read. But anyways, yeah, Yellowface, it was not my favorite book, but I'm giving her a second chance with Babel, and yeah, I'm already enjoying it a lot more. I love the academia, intrigue, fantasy little bit to it. Next was The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, and I own that one too. This is how terrible, like I don't want to show my library, it's so awful, because this is the only one of the Mistborn saga that I actually own. My friend loaned me. He thought he had loaned me the first era, but he loaned me the second era. So I think I listened to the first two as audiobooks and then I bought the third one, but I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 star. And it's like the main downside I had to it is just the amount of religion that is in it. Like I was kind of just disappointed the way the book like went, I guess. Like I loved the ending. The ending was great, but I kind of just like I rolled at how much religion played a part in it. But now that I'm reading more of Sanderson, I realize that, every book he has, it's, going to be quite a big of a plot line or focal point in his books. So it's kind of just, I just have to push through that and enjoy the world building and all that. Yeah, I don't know, how much I want to go into it, but I grew up very rural Canada. So my relationship with religion isn't great. I guess you would. I feel weird talking about this stuff because I'm like, oh, this is gonna go on the internet for everyone to see. But I guess I would be more on the side of like anti-religious. So that was kind of why just like it didn't get 5 stars for me. Yeah, I read a lot of Sanderson last year. The next one that I read was Warbreaker, which I also own. Really love this one. Yeah, I gave this one a 5 out of 5. I love the magic system in this one was fantastic for me. And I've read that he wrote this one while he was on his honeymoon, which made me laugh because this one is definitely the spiciest out of all of his books. Like there's like nothing comparing it to like romance books and romantasy books, like there's nothing in this compared to other books out there. But yeah, definitely his most spicy. But yeah, just love the world, love the magic, just fantastic. And then next, I read The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I also own this one. I try to stay off the internet, but I have seen posts here and there, like there's some stuff going on with Neil Gaiman. I'm highly disappointed. Like I think I'll still read his books, the ones that I own, but yeah, super disappointed in that. But I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5, and I really enjoyed it because I love the movie Coraline. So I figured, yeah, I'm gonna love his books. I really need to get into reading his books. But this one, it was just weird, bizarre, just like Coraline is. It definitely didn't go in the direction that I thought it was going to, but I still highly enjoyed it. I love the way he writes. Just probably not as a person in real life anymore. We'll see what happens with that. And then the last physical book that I read of the year was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I've never read anything in this kind of genre, like this type of book before. It was like cozy fantasy, like this ogre decides to quit plundering and opens up a coffee shop, and like coffee shops like aren't a thing in this world. And it's just like a cozy read. Like it was cute. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5. Like I think I don't really need to read more books like this. It's just I definitely like plot driven books, I think. So it was okay. Didn't love it, but didn't hate it. Same thing. That's why it got a 3 for me. But yeah, so that was all the 10 books that I physically read. So I'm just gonna go over like my plans for the coming year, like what I want to read. It's like mid-February. I've read 6 books this year, so not that much compared to like other booktubers out there, but for me, it's great. I think I should be able to finish Babel before the end of the year. So yeah, after I finish Babel, I want to get back into Oathbringer. I want to finish Oathbringer. And then going forward, I would like to read a lot more books off of my physical TBR. I really want to get that down. The amount of books that I own that I haven't read. I feel like, oh god, if I did the numbers, it would probably be like 90% are unread versus the 10% that I have read. So yeah, I really want to get that number down. Yeah, I guess maybe tell me what you would like to see through videos, like what kind of booktube videos you would like to see from me, because this is a whole new venture for me. I'm not really sure what people want to see out there. But yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.